Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk about Microsoft's project management platforms. Just to introduce myself, my name is Angus. I work for MindCraft. MindCraft's a 30-year-old, just about 30-year-old company. We've been trading for 30 years in IT. We have a very strong delivery focus for our clients, and that we use tools to do that. One of those is Microsoft Project. And Project Online, and so we have experienced the journey that Microsoft are on with Project, and we thought it would be good to share our learnings from that. Some years ago, we began to use a methodology called proactive portfolio and project management. We followed a methodology that was developed by the American firm, and the author of that was Kenneth Steiners. He's written a number of books. This is one of them, and he has helped us on the journey to the extent that we now use one of his products. As you'll learn this morning, Microsoft is moving to Power Platform, and his product Sensei IQ is based on the Power Platform. So we'll use that as an example of how we can move forward with the changes that Microsoft are making. Why does it matter what Microsoft are doing in the Microsoft project management space? Well, some people will remember the Nokias. If you like Nokias, you love the Nokia. We've had to move on from that. We have very different phones from those that we had those days, but people still have very strong, fond memories of Nokia 5110s and 6110s. I used to love mine, but I've had to accept that we can't use those these days. And it's the same with other technologies, and it's the same with the project management technologies that Microsoft provide us. They are modernizing what is happening in the project management tool space, and we have to move from those familiar tools that we've had into a new technology world, really. I mean, we've even got AI in there now, so it's radically changed. It's not just a technology upgrade, it is a shift in how we actually do the work, managing projects, managing teams, and we're going to look at how that journey is taking place and how we can make the most of that. Why now? Why is it important to talk about this now? Well, if anybody uses Project for the web, we'll explain what that is in a minute or two. If you use Project for the web, it's actually retiring next month, and that includes the roadmap apps and the project apps that are in Teams, so they are all retiring. You will be redirected to the new planner experience if you use Project for the web. There aren't any issues around licensing, so your existing licenses cover Planner Premium rather than Project for the web. And the other thing that is happening is Project Online is starting to have some of its functionality retire. If you use Project Online, you may know that it's built on SharePoint, and it uses SharePoint workflows. They are being retired, deprecated in April next year. If organizations have done a lot of extension and building on the Project Online platform and use those workflows, they're not going to be available from next year. In fact, if you started a new tenant last year, you couldn't have those workflows switched on at all. So we are going to start seeing functionality on Project Online start to disappear. I know we're having issues at the moment with some of the tools that things have stopped doing or stopped working, and that journey is now moving us to Power Platform. I thought it would be helpful just to look at the evolution of the project management tool, so we've got a bit of context of why all this is changing. In 1984, Microsoft released Microsoft Project. Microsoft have come from the world of personal computers. They were the organization that really built up personal computers. We've moved from mainframes and minis into PCs. And one of the products they shipped was Microsoft Project. It's got a lot of features and functionality. In 1997, they released Outlook. and that had a tasks function. You could have a task in there and then have that satisfying ding when you have completed a task. I think we've probably all experienced the pleasure of completing a task. Some perhaps not in 1997, but in Planner to do later on. The year 2000, Microsoft released Project Server. This took Microsoft Project Desktop and integrated it into a client server environment. We're moving to client server, and allowed organizations to share projects, schedules, resources, calendars, and a lot of organizations took up Project Server, started to use that. In 2013, Microsoft introduced Project Online, and that essentially is Project Server of 2000 put into the cloud. So it's the same sort of technology, but it's now on the cloud. It's available by subscription. You wouldn't have the servers in your data centers or in your comms rooms. You would have this on the cloud and access it through that. In 2016, Microsoft introduced Planner. Planner is a lightweight project management tool with task boards and things like that. It allows you to view things slightly differently to how Project did with just the Gantt chart and things like that. And in 2017, they introduced To Do, which is almost like the Outlook tasks on steroids. It is linked to Outlook. If you mark an email in Outlook for attention, it will appear in your to-do list. If you mark it as done in your to-do list, it marks it as done in Outlook. So there's tight integration with those, and that's all around the Office 365 integration. We're now moving right into the space of cloud computing and Office 365. 2019, Microsoft introduced Project for the Web. That is a complete move off that SharePoint platform onto the Power platform. So we've now started to change the underlying technologies. SharePoint is out of date, very difficult to support, maintain, keep secure. So they have started in 2019 that movement towards Power Automate, and Planner was introduced. The Project for the Web, sorry. And in 2024, we saw Planner Premium arrive. We've already got Planner, but Planner Premium arrived, and that is the evolution of Project for the Web, which was introduced in 2019. So we can see we've moved from where the PC world was right into cloud computing, off SharePoint and onto the new Power Platform. The Power Platform offers a lot of advantages, and we're going to cover some of those in a minute or two. We're going to be passing out the slide deck at the end of this. We'll send you a copy of this. This table in here just has a little bit more detail about each one of those platforms. So Microsoft have invested heavily in the Power Platform. It is the place where they're doing a lot of their application development, and they're supporting apps, and it's tightly integrated with Office 365. The Power Platform has Dataverse behind it, which is just a huge database, a lot of functionality, and you can build apps. They're called Power Apps. They are termed low code, no code. That is intended to allow more people to be able to develop apps themselves. They use things like Power Automate, which used to be called Flow, to automate monotonous tasks, repetitive tasks. And also there's Power BI, which is used for reporting, dashboards, data analytics, and that sort of thing. So that's the Power Platform that the project management tools are moving on to. With this change comes the opportunity to transform how we do the project management work using these tools. We can do a lot more with these than we could with Planner or Project for the Web. We can automate. We've got dashboards. We can get the data to the decision makers so they can make data-driven decisions. So it's a positive step. It does have some challenges. We'll come on to those in a minute. Just to try and explain how all this ties together. Within Microsoft 365 and the Power Platform and Teams, we have that underlying infrastructure that these tools, they're project management tools are built on, as well as a lot of other tools in Microsoft 3, like Microsoft 365, like approvals and bookings and things like that. Sitting on top of those are some work management tools. Microsoft have provided Planner, Project Online still around, Azure DevOps is used by the software development world, and then third-party tools for project management like Jira, Smartsheets, Monday also can sit on top of that. They can all access and use the Power Platform, Teams and things like that. So you can go into Teams and access monday.com, or you can go and access Planner. What happens in Sensei IQ is they have built on the Power Platform. I'm using this as an example of how organizations can then build on the foundations that Microsoft have provided to customize the tools or enhance the tools to deliver some of the things that organizations need that the basic tools don't provide. Some organizations like resource management, Planner doesn't do anything like that. Planner Premium doesn't do anything like that. Project Online did, and so how do you get that functionality? Having been built on Power Platform, it's giving organizations a lot of flexibility in how they take the project management tools forward. Obviously, you don't have to stay with Microsoft if you don't want to do that. There are other tools out there that people can use for project management. So let's have a look at some of the benefits and some of the challenges. We have to accept there are challenges moving to these platforms. We have improved scheduling. The scheduling engine from Project Online has actually moved across into Planner, and that's what drives the background processes. But we've now got more intuitive tools. It's easier to use. We've got boards. You can drag things around more easily. We've got a better user experience in terms of how you access, what it looks like. It should be familiar to people, particularly if you access it through Teams. So if you use Planner in Teams and you're just working in the same environment, it's seamlessly integrated with 365, Outlook, SharePoint, and all the 365 tools. And of course, there's Copilot. We now have Copilot in Planner Premium. It's in Office 365. That's an enormous gain. We don't have those in the legacy tools that Microsoft got, and we won't get those. One other major benefit in the IT world today of moving to this platform is we get enterprise-grade security. Everybody will have heard of the organisations like Marks and Spencer's who've taken a massive hit because of cyber crime. If we stay with legacy tools, the old Nokia, we're just opening ourselves up for vulnerabilities. And organisations, no matter how large, like Microsoft, they cannot keep supporting those platforms forever. So we need to take this as an opportunity to make the most of the platform and build on the Power Platform, which is why we've used Sensei as our example here. It has taken from the Project Online world things that have yet to come from Microsoft or may not come in their current project management tools and said, how do we extend those tools? So Copilot being in there, it's a game changer. Particularly, you can get it to analyze your data in your projects. If you're managing portfolios, you can do a lot of analysis using Copilot to understand where your risks, your issues, any bottlenecks, any over allocation, under allocation. Power Automate allows you to find the repetitive tasks, approvals, notifications, things like that, and it allows you to automate all of that quite simply. You don't have to be a software engineer to do that. Would encourage people to use software engineers to do that, but you don't need to. It's a bit akin to Excel macros. And you can customize, as Sensei IQ is an example of that customization. So it says, right, I haven't got this core functionality that I need in my business. I'm going to extend that, and Power Platform allows you to do that. It's also scalable, secure. We know organizations that have thousands of project managers using these tools and hundreds of projects, and it performs perfectly well. So it's hugely scalable. So we need to think about how do we move forward from project online, project for the web if you're using that, and look at can we work better with the new tools? Can we think differently? We're not constrained by some of the old technologies. It is fair to say that there are challenges with the new project management tools. If you're using them, I'm sure some of the examples I'm going to give in a minute will be familiar to you. Project Planner Premium. Planner Premium doesn't have all the same functions that are in Project Online. If you're a big Project Online user, you know you've got resource management, you've got an approval process, you've got the ability to have custom fields and tailor what project stores and manages. You don't have that in Planner Premium, you certainly don't have it in Planner. So there is a loss of features as you move from one to the other, and it's understanding what those are and are there better ways, other ways of achieving the same things. And this is related also to the data fidelity issues. As you move your projects and data from some of the older tools, the new tools just don't have the ability to retain some of that data. There has been in the last couple of months a big issue moving tasks into Planner, that it's not moving the percentage complete, which is quite annoying if you're using that sort of thing. So that has been fixed, but there are other things where it just doesn't have. Planner Premium doesn't have custom fields, so if you've got data stored in those, it's not going to migrate across. We also have quite a lot of different tools now, and it's sometimes difficult to know which ones to use and which are the most appropriate ones. We've got Smartsheets, Monday, Project Desktop, any number of them. So there's an opportunity for people to work differently. That may be a good thing, a bad thing. We can explore that a little bit. When it comes to importing and exporting into Planner Premium, there's as I said, with the data fidelity issues, it is tricky, and it's actually quite tricky to do the import. We're going to look at that in a minute, but how do you actually import something from Project Desktop, Project Online? How do you import it in there? It's not potentially that intuitive, easy to make mistakes. There is the potential for licensing complexity with the new model. You don't just need a project license if you want to use some of the tools. You need Power BI licenses, Power Apps licenses, third-party licenses if you're using Smartsheets or things like that. So it's not quite as simple. And there's some other risks, not about the tools themselves, but how you're going to migrate from what was there, the Project Desktop, Project Online. How are you going to move there? People are going to get a bit frustrated if they can't do the same things that they did, or can't produce the same sort of information. So I'm just going to look at 3 different challenges that we've faced, our customers have faced, and just talk through those, just to highlight and bring those to the surface. The first one is looking at the design of the tool. We use Project Online. We've got a number of instances. We just take a standard SharePoint template and so recolor it, so we know that we're working in a client-facing one or an internal one or a developed one or whatever. So this isn't exactly the same view that you would see with a standard Project Online out of the box. However, the ribbon with projects, approvals, tasks is identical. The idea of these tiles is identical. It's quite a familiar interface if you're a Project Online user. Microsoft have then come along, moved to the Power Platform, and introduced Project for the web. This interface is quite a lot different to what we've just seen for Project Online. One thing that is quite interesting about this is, as it stands at the moment, I took this screenshot a couple of days ago, you can see just under the green bar is a new bar that says Move to Planner. And if you click the button, it will take you through to Planner. So you'll see the same stuff, but just through the Planner interface. And at the bottom, we've got Go to Project Online. So we're in a period of transition with this interface. However, this is being retired next month, so that will become less of an issue. I don't know if anybody is familiar with using Project for the web via Power Apps, but this is exactly the same application as we were just looking at, but viewed through the Power Apps interface rather than the project interface. So it's the same set of projects in here. If you change one here and you go into the other interface, you'll see the change there. It's the same project. Nothing on the underlying data hasn't changed. This is just the interface. This interface is going to stay, I understand, but it's not going to be called Project for the Web. It's going to be called Planner Premium via Power Apps, I think is the way. I should at this point just reiterate, we're not Microsoft partners. I'm not speaking here on behalf of Microsoft. I'm talking as somebody who uses these tools on a daily basis and have experienced some of these challenges and the learning curve that goes with it. We then move on to Planner. This is Planner Basic. If you've used Planner, you'll recognize this. This is also looking at a similar set of projects and similar set of data. And then we've got the Planner for the Planner Premium interface. And if you can't tell the difference, there is no difference. This is the same interface. We've now just got a Planner interface. One's looking at Planner Basic and Planner Premium, and so is the other. There's no difference at all. It's just one interface. So it is somewhat confusing when you're looking at this to know what exactly am I looking at here. The second challenge that we found and our clients found is, how do you convert Planner Basic to Planner Premium? So Basic has very limited set of functions. Premium is bringing in more of the project's online functionality and will continue to do so and evolve. So how do you convert one of your basic plans to your premium plan? I've created a little test plan here. It's got 3 tasks, and this interface will allow me to upgrade this to premium. There's 3 dots next to timeline, and if I click that, I can add premium views of people and assignments. So it's not obviously telling me I could upgrade this from basic to premium. It's just saying I can add these features. If I click one of those, we'll start going through the upgrade process. It will ask me, am I sure I want to do it? Then it'll start doing it, and then it's done it. And there's no way back from that. So you need to be a little bit cautious about doing that, because if you've got people accessing this with just an Office 365 plan, they will need premium licenses in order to access the upgraded plan. When you go back into your plan, having upgraded, we've got the same 3 tasks, same project name, but now we've got a couple more icons: people, goals, assignments, and Copilot. In Planner Basic, you can't access Copilot, you can't access those other things. In Planner Premium, you can, and your license covers you for those. Your project P3, P5 licenses cover you for that sort of thing. But that's really the only way you can tell whether this is a Planner Basic or a Planner Premium. I'm guessing that in the future they will make it more intuitive and you can tell the difference. But if you look at the Planner list of projects, it's not easy to see which is which. So there's an opportunity for people to get confused. We've done it ourselves, created something in one and then not been able to find it because it's when the interfaces were very separate and not be able to find it. The third and final challenge that I'll go through is, how do you actually import a plan into Planner Premium? When Project for the Web, as it still is, but is deprecating, when you click a new project, create a project in Project for the Web, you get the option to create a blank plan, a roadmap, they are also retiring, and importing a project as a plan. That would prompt you to provide an MPP file, which you get from Projects Online and Project Desktop. In Planner Premium, so remembering that Project for the Web is retiring next month, Planner Premium is replacing it. When you create a new plan, you only get 2 options, basic or premium. There is no import from an MPP, import from a project option in Planner Premium in this interface. But if you go to the Project for the Web, as it still is, but will become Planner Premium via Power Apps, So this is accessing not through the standard waffle on the left hand side. You have to go to the Power Apps platform and open the app. You can get into the project for the web via Power Apps, and on the right hand side, I've made the screenshot slightly too small, but under that ellipsis is import, and there is an option at the bottom of that drop down that says import from MPP. That will prompt you for the MPP file, and then it will import as much of the data as it can in respect to, there might be stuff in your MPP file, fields that don't exist in Planner Premium, and it won't import those. It will still import the task, but it will just not have some of the information. Confusingly, the three above that, import from Excel, CSV, and XML, if you use those, they are trying to import into this grid of active plans. So if I have a plan in a spreadsheet with 10 tasks in it and then try and import it, what it will do is it will create 10 new projects, one for each task, because it's trying to actually import this into this table, which is a list of projects. So they're not importing plans. It's only the one at the bottom that does that. So there's a real opportunity to make mistakes. We've done it ourselves. You then have to just manually go through and remove those ones that it's created as projects. If and when you're planning your migration, I would definitely spend some time getting to grips with this, because there's a lot of opportunity for people to get confused. And if you're supporting people using these tools, these are obvious pitfalls that we've fallen into and had to learn. So we've looked at where Microsoft are going on this journey for the Power Platform and project management tools, and we've looked at some of the challenges, some of the benefits. There are a lot of benefits to this, but it's going to require some new thinking in terms of how we use the new tools and how we augment those. So I'm going to hand over to Sarah, who's going to just have a look in a little bit more detail about what we've done on the Power Platform to augment using Sensei.
Thank you very much. I will be handing back to Angus soon for a Q&A session. So you may have noticed the chat's disabled, but if you go into the Q&A box, you can post any questions in there, and towards the end of the webinar, we'll cover all of that. As Angus said, there will be a recording that goes out. So if we don't have time to answer any of them live, we can address that afterwards as well. So in summary, if we think of Project Online as an umbrella covering three pieces, of course, we have Project Desktop, Content Database, and PWA. The Project Desktop, of course, is focused on the project, primarily anything related to tasks and assignments. Content Database is where your schedules are stored when you're using Project Online, if you aren't saving to a local MPP file. And PWA, standing for, of course, Project for the Web. It's the web-based interface used to access Project Online, the schedule, and also more features and capabilities. Whilst we know that people are quite excited about the direction Microsoft is heading with Planner, there are still, of course, some of the more advanced features that Project Online offered, as we've been covering. Things like task-level custom fields and value analysis, support for more than 3,000 tasks, and some of the critical capabilities that you just shouldn't really be without. Now, as many of you know, Planner Premium is built on the Power Platform, and that doesn't just support modern foundation, it also has the ability to read data from the content database, and that's going to give us several possibilities. All those advanced scenarios that were traditionally supported by Project Online are now possible through the Power Platform. So for organizations that aren't quite ready to go all in on Planner, but absolutely need those features, we suggest a hybrid approach. So our recommendation to our clients has been to start moving features out of PWA and into the Power Platform. And this will hopefully help being impacted by deprecated workflows and other legacy elements. And that impact, of course, is what's causing the urgency. So Sensei IQ has been developed as a Power Platform solution, as a full replacement for PWA. And the benefit of that approach, of course, is that you don't have to give up desktop app. Your users who rely on Project Desktop for its features can continue to work the way that they always have. And meanwhile, others can explore Planner in parallel. All of the data is stored in the content database and brought together on the Power Platform. And of course, as Angus explained, Sensei is deployed into your environment, so keeping all your data secure in your tenant. And this hybrid approach has been central to the way that we see the future of project delivery. It gives experts the depth that they need, whilst allowing the majority of project managers to transition to modern work tools easily. With the Power Platform, you can do so much more than you ever could with PWA. So it offers true enterprise resource management, formal program and portfolio management, strategic intake with scoring and prioritization, and even integrated AI. The Planner Premium has Copilot built in, and Power Apps will give you the same AI experience. So Microsoft is clearly nudging organizations towards Planner Basic and Premium as their go-to tools. And for many organizations, that might be enough. But for those of you with complex portfolios, expert users, or highly tailored PPM configurations, the Power Platform is going to allow and offer a natural evolution path. So before I hand back to Angus, what do we do moving forward? And we'd like to put out a few offerings to you. If there's anything that we've covered today that really resonates with your current situation and you're just not quite sure how to transition these changes, we would like to offer one-to-one sessions where we can walk through your existing setup and processes, identify any blockers, and recommend tailored next steps for you. This will come in the form of a data health check, so it will give you the opportunity to see exactly what in your data will be affected with the upcoming data flow changes. So it's a chance to give your team a real clarity and next steps moving forward and practical advice for your unique situation too. So we will offer priority slots to our webinar attendees today. And if that's something that you want to take us up on, just pop data check into the Q&A boxes and we'll arrange a call post-webinar. I'm going to follow up with an email and then of course we can schedule you in with priority. We're also offering tailored sessions to explore your setup and requirements and take you through everything that Sensei IQ can offer you. So if you would also like to book in that demonstration, pop demo into the Q&A and we'll reach out and get you scheduled in so that we can take next steps. And I'm going to hand back to Angus for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So I think to recap, the lovely Nokias are still here. I'm clinging hold of that Nokia. I don't want to let it go, but unfortunately, the project management tools are moving on and we have to start to embrace the new platforms, be that either by moving off Microsoft completely or embracing their Power Platform and the tools that they're providing themselves. Personally, I think it's Planner itself, which is included in the 365, is not going to be enough for project managers to use. It's fine for very small things if you want to see what you've got to do for the next few weeks, but in terms of the real project program portfolio management, there's just not enough functionality in it at the moment. And so we've got Project Online, which we can still access the database of. We've got Project Desktop. They're not being invested in, but we can still use them. So when we look at why we should do this, well, some of it's getting turned off next month. More of it's going to get turned off in the coming April. And after that, who knows how long Microsoft will continue to support Project Online, and we will have to move at some point. We have, Sarah's outlined one approach is sort of hybrid, run the current tools, but use the new Power Platform. You could just go for a full migration at once. You could phase this across your organizations by department or however you're all structured. But we've got to see this as a modernisation, not just a technology upgrade. We can work very differently. Certainly with the introduction of AI into all of this, it's a real game changer. And in order to stay ahead, I think it's time to be planning. If your organisations are not planning to move at this moment, I think there's a real need to start that planning, start engaging stakeholders. We won't be able to stay on these platforms, the legacy platforms, for years to come. So there's lots of opportunity to talk about the real benefits, the dashboards, the increased security, automation, AI, and whilst the tools themselves at the moment have challenges, that's only going to improve, I'm sure. So it's time to get on the case, I think, of moving forward. That's our understanding and feeling. Okay, I think I hope that was helpful. We do have a Q&A available. If anybody has any questions, you can also contact us directly or by email or however you prefer, and ask us questions about what's been presented today. We will share the content with you. The video will be available shortly, and just want to thank you again for your time. I hope it's been useful.
There is just a Q&A in one question in our Q&A box, Angus. Someone's asked, what will happen if we don't migrate to these new platforms?
We just start losing functionality. So if we don't move off, well, Project for the Web is just going. The interface is going. So the functionality is there in Planner Premium. So we'll just have a rude awakening one day when we can no longer access it. I was using it the other day and I created a new project and I couldn't change the name. So I think functionality is already starting to go. So we'll have no choice with Project for the Web. However, Planner Premium is pretty much like for like, so that's not a big one. The bigger one is if you use Project Online extensively. If you've done a lot of customization, got a lot of projects, then it will start to lose functionality. And it's old. In technology terms, it's very old.
Okay, super. I think that's it for now then. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a very good day. Thank you.